What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're going to have a quick end of the week wrap up of what's going on here in the cryptocurrency market, in particular here with Bitcoin, XRP, and the altcoin market. Outside of the things that we've talked about this week, just working on a grind back up, not a lot of things have changed. Now, as we head into Friday, the last trading day of the week for the United States stock market, we can see Bitcoin's knocking on $95,000 door. It has overall been a very positive week over here in the crypto market. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time talking about, what a recovery could look like in here. That's probably like climbing a wall of worry. That eventually there's probably going to be this pretty big correction in here. It can take various shapes and forms. Whether it ends up looking like any of these or not, there's still probably going to be correcting that happens in here. Where it's going to happen from is going to be very difficult to guess. But the continued messaging being we've done everything from a strength perspective to say that was the bottom in there. So we'll look at the strength of other things throughout the market today just to kind of reinforce that point. But one of those charts that we have spent a lot of time comparing to say, like, it looks like there's still going to be that fifth wave coming in here, similar to things like we've seen in past cycles like Solana or Sia coin. Would be over here on SWI. If you've watched any of my YouTube videos over the last couple of months, you've certainly seen this comparison brought up here. And as you can see here, let me put this on the weekly time frame. Look what our week has done now. So the market has woken up, obviously. SWI just took back everything to January in a matter of a week. So that's kind of how crypto goes. It just kind of tortures you for several months on end, and then in a snap of a finger, it can take it all back. Still, it's very likely there's going to be big corrections happening in here. We talked about this in the Markets in the Morning episode this past Wednesday, that even just like lots of 20 and 30% corrections to shift this thing up in here, so long as we do this and continue shifting up for a wave 5 4.236 extension, to expect lots of 20 and 30% corrections in here. But the significant thing that has happened here is the big push that has happened. And not everybody owns SWI, and I'm not here to convince you that SWI is the best thing since sliced bread. It's not that I even know everything about SWI in any way. I really don't. However, it was one of the leading indicators that happened there back in August of 2024. So if you remember, in August of 2024, we have the big VIX spike that happens in the market. The market capitulates, the stock market capitulates. SWI was one of those first leaders in there. And then it was again another leader happening in here in September. So it gave us kind of an early sign that the bottom was already in. Retail was really scared still. Things were uncertain in the market, but it was one of those first signs. So we've spent a lot of time looking at things like Bitcoin. Let me put this over here. But moving to higher time frames, like the daily time frame, you can see in here a very clear directional change happening here on the daily RSI, right? This is where we've been at dating back to late January, early February, a clear break on the RSI. On the daily time frame, okay. But shifting out a little bit more to like the 2-day time frame, we can definitely see it as well. Clear break happening here on the RSI. We see the rollover back to the upside happening over here on the MACD, shifting to an even bigger time frame. We'll go to the 3-day time frame. You can see that as well. We now have the full-blown cross happening over here on the MACD. You can see the trend change happening over here on the relative strength index. And then, like we've also talked about, you could see the stochastic RSI being stuck down in here ever since late December. And then we got the big break happening there in mid-April, right after the tariff announcements, as if the tariff crash was like the FTX moment of this. So you can see all that happening in there. We're also very close to doing that on the 5-day time frame. You can see that cross is very close here on the 5-day time frame for the MACD, along with the stochastic RSI also pointing straight back up, and the trend change happening over there on the relative strength index. And this is all for Bitcoin. So this is all good stuff. We're still humming along on track. I'm still just mindful of little corrections that can show up in here and be kind of trickery here in the middle of the dumb money zone. But still, the concept of all of this is to head into something like that, which eventually, of course, breaks down the Bitcoin dominance. I'm not sure we'll see the Bitcoin dominance actually break down in any meaningful way until we can kind of get beyond this moment in here in ABC and then actually get going. That's also similar to what we saw back in here, that the Bitcoin dominance didn't start doing any type of meaningful downward move until this break actually happened right in here. So I think it'd be the same story. Uncertain if this correction will start from up in a new high, if it'll happen from right here at the 702 retracement, or if it'll happen a little bit higher. It could really land anywhere in there. I'm not quite sure. But, from the bigger picture perspective of the market, these are the confluence factors we've been looking for. Like we just saw 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 5 day time frames, seeing those bullish divergences emerge, the strength returning back to Bitcoin, strength returning back to the market, and then getting the signal over in here on SWI to give us what we've been looking for. And this isn't some random chart. This has been brought up like every single video. There it is. There's your big reaction happening off of the low. So these are all great things to see as we wrap up this week. I still expect corrections to come along the way. Like I just said, I think this is probably wave 1. Then we have wave 2. Then we have wave 3, 4, and 5. This is more of just like the explosive wave 1, getting off of those lows. Still going to be some pulling back to do in here. And then we could start marching along with some real excitement later. These concepts have been the same over here on the XRP price chart, really just waiting for a move to happen like that, followed by an ABC. We're still just stuck in here, so there's nothing whole lot new to say about this chart, just kind of waiting for it to follow along with what Bitcoin's been doing and with what SWI has been doing to work itself back up into those retracements. Probably still more correcting after that. But again, reinforces the idea that that was the low. And we're already getting those signs coming from Bitcoin, signs coming from SWI that was the low. So things are looking good. We're still just waiting for a reaction to come out of here and to escape this entire zone. Otherwise, it is just a process to work your way back up. I know we all want it to just go in a straight line, and it kind of has been here for this last week. Typically, it doesn't stay that way. There's going to be areas to work out. We're going to find resistances. There's going to be pullbacks, but the bigger perspective of it is those bullish divergences that have happened in the market. We identified them right on time, and the market has ripped now. Now it's all about, for like the altcoin market, working on a wall of worry to be able to climb its way out of here. But just like Bitcoin, we already see all the bullish divergences happening in here as well. On this 1 day time frame, you can clearly see the RSI has broken out, yet it has not exceeded any of these levels yet. However, the strength has returned, and you can see that bullish divergence even over here on the MACD for quite a while. The 2 day time frame is also the same. You have the curl on the MACD. Same with the 3 day. We got the crossover happening over in here. Price just has not followed it as of yet, but the strength certainly returning there after falling off of a cliff from back here, right from the peak. You can see it. It's working its way all the way back up. Price just hasn't followed yet, but I think we're already getting that sign over here on SWI, giving us the heads up already. Things are working out just fine of how they should be. And that's a nice relief to see that, because this was our leader last time. So otherwise, good week. Whether or not the entire market has ripped to the upside, we've seen positive price action over there with Bitcoin, bullish divergences all over the place, and then SWI gave us a reaction we were looking for, and really using this as like a leading indicator. So we've got our leader. Good week. So heading into the weekend, still keep it in the back of my mind. Likely lots of chop to still work through up in here, but the bigger picture being all the bullish divergences and the price reactions that we are seeing are positive. Otherwise, just a time to enjoy the weekend after a good week in the crypto market. So I'll just keep it brief and to the point and on a high note as we head into the weekend. I've kind of waited for prices to kind of go back on a recovery to say, hey, there's going to be a couple weeks I'll have off during the summer. The first ones will come there at the end of May and the beginning of June, just so you guys are aware when that time comes around. It's still over a month away, but I figured I'd just go ahead and plant the seed now. People don't usually like to hear that stuff when markets are down, but we've had a nice little bounce here in the market, so it's a good opportunity to at least plant that seed to let you know the last week of May and first week of June. There'll be some time off from the YouTube channel, but it's still over a month away. Otherwise, probably take this weekend off as things have been good here in the market, and I'll catch up with you guys there on Monday. So if you guys are looking for something to do throughout the weekend, of course, you could check out my newsletter over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com, which talks a lot about the macro events going on right now. Yet, sure enough, we were looking there at the crypto stuff to say the dominance ratios, historical parallels, and the structures and the divergences of crypto painted a different picture. And here we are a couple of weeks later, and sure enough, it has. Crypto has responded very well. But this comes with a 42-minute audio voiceover recording that I personally did in here. So if you like to listen to them instead of read them, I do that for you. You could, of course, check out bcbacker.com with over 40 videos and 11 hours of content teaching you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. There are links within the description of this video to blockchainbacker.substack.com or the newsletter. and of course, bcbacker.com. Otherwise, have an absolutely fantastic weekend, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.